Hey there, students, teachers, and parents. I thought we would start off the year correctly by making sure that all of us are teaching spelling every single week, whether you're the reading teacher or the writing teacher. Hopefully in all grade levels, even pre-K should start learning how to spell things like their names, their teacher's name, what those letters look like, what they sound like. I always feel like the earlier we get started with things in life, the better. So this is going to be a combination, as you can see on the screen behind me there, combination of how to combine spelling, voice, vocabulary, and transitions. And I'm going to use my graphic organizer to do that, to make sure that you see what we're doing, why we're doing it, and I want to make sure you know how to do it so that each week, as I share some different spelling rules with you, you and your teachers and you and your parents as well can find some words that match the rule that we're looking for. So today's rule, or this week's rule, is going to be singular to plural, consonant Y, when you have to drop the Y and add IES. So teachers, this activity is not inside the binder, at least the spelling words that I came up with. So if you would like a copy of the spelling list, just email me there at writing_doctor@yahoo.com and I'll send you a PDF of the spelling words. You're going to be able to find the voice and vocabulary and transition words inside the binder in the places that I share with you. So let's go ahead and get started by looking at my graphic organizer so we can see. Hopefully I have it set up correctly so you won't have to. There it is. All right. So as you see here, this is an editing passages and essays graphic organizer. So for those of you that are not familiar with editing or grammar, put myself in the corner there. Whenever it says in the question, what change should be made in sentence singular, it's always going to be cups, as in capitalization, C, usage, subject, verb agreement, who, did, what, and we connect our subject to our predicate with Spider-Man's webs. Punctuation, that is either yellow slowing down, which we'll be talking about today, because we're going to also be practicing singular and plural possessives that go with our spelling that goes from singular to plural. And stop signs, which are periods, exclamations, and question marks, which we won't be talking about today unless you go ahead and make a sentence out of your spelling / vocabulary / transition words. The one I want to talk about today is the S of cups. It's spelling. So I went to Dollar Tree and I found this little guy here. It's actually green because green means go. And what I like about these little antennas, these ears are, they have eyeballs at the top. And so the first thing that we're going to do is see the word. If we're bad at spelling, boys and girls, we should not look at the whole word. We should take a picture using our eyes of each individual letter and even the formation of the letter. What we'll do next, I'm going to flip this upside down. We're going to open our mouth and we're going to say the word either softly or loudly. Let's do it loudly in a class setting or when you're with groups, and softly if you're with a partner or if you're working solo by yourself. Okay? The next part, we're going to open our ears and we're going to hear and listen to the word so we can hear what it sounds like, the pattern. So that way we're either going to use our eyes to see how they look different, or our ears to listen how they sound different. And then we're going to use our head or our heart, our brain. What spelling pattern is this that my teacher has taught me, hopefully during the school year, whether it's singular or plural, singular possessive, plural possessive. What vocabulary word does this relate to? Does this have my voice? Or is this a transition word I can use? Or is this a spelling word that we, the students, it's the students apostrophe word? That means you guys, you kids came up with at least one word each following that spelling pattern. But the reason I have the heart there, boys and girls, is your heart is your feelings and your emotions. That's your voice inside here. And your head has your thoughts and your opinions voice. So each week, boys and girls, I'm going to ask your teachers to not just give you spelling words that have spelling patterns, but also to add some vocabulary words that are voice. And so I want to show you really quickly, boys and girls, the voice ones. And teachers, those are on page 236, 237, and 238. What you'll see here, boys and girls, is on the very top of page 236, it says, "That's your opinion." So when they say choose your words carefully, we want to be able to start using some of these words instead of the words that are on the paper a lot of times. And so the one I would recommend first, boys and girls and teachers and parents, is let's stop using fun. That means we're no longer going to say it or write it. So let me show you something that we could do to remind us that we're never going to use fun again. From now until Halloween, they're going to be selling these little caskets at the Dollar Tree. And so what I would do is I would write the word fun on a ticket, place it inside the casket, because it's going to be a dead word. It's going to be an off-limit word that I can no longer say when I talk or write when I'm putting things down on paper. And so hopefully every single classroom is going to be raising their vocabulary. So I want to do something with you guys. I want you to do it with me. Off-limit words. And let's practice this, because when I say off limits, sometimes the word is going to be too low for us, but other times it's going to be too high for us. So when we say no off-limit words, O as in off limits, we're going to say stop using words that are too high for me or too low for me. And sorry for the camera doing that. It's getting confused with my blue shirt and the blue background. So stop using words that are too high for me or too low for me. So boys and girls, think of it like a vocabulary ladder. You're going to either climb up the ladder to get to a word that's great for you and your grade level or your ability level, or you'll come down the ladder till you find one that's good for you. And teachers, right after these words, after page 236 through 238, the voice section, there's about 20 pages of what I call Word Bank Mountain, where it has lots of synonyms like sat at the bottom of a ladder and higher levels of side climbing, little choice that you can pick. And so I would highly recommend, teachers, that you make a big copy of that and put those on your wall, or make small copies for your students so that each student can have some in their writing portfolio and their writing binders. It's always a great idea to get, for each one of you, boys and girls, a 1-inch binder, so you can be collecting all of the work that you do throughout the year from beginning to end. So I would pick, and then we have to remember that if we use fun when we talk or when we write, we should lose a point on our score on our essay. And a reward for using one of the synonyms would be getting a point, or we would write your name on a ticket and we would place it in perhaps a word bank. So I'll let you teachers decide for about 3 or 4 weeks, pick about 4 or 5 of these words at a time, these synonyms for fun and good, and add that to your spelling list, the one that we're going to go over in a few minutes, and your kids will have to use those in a sentence during the week, and hopefully instead of fun or good, whenever they write a sentence, whenever they write a paragraph, and when they get to the whole essay level, they'll be using these words, this higher vocabulary, instead of fun and good, because we said that fun from now on will be dead. So another one, slide it over a little bit here so you can see the other way to get voice, is your feelings and emotions. And on page 237, boys and girls and teachers, at the very top is the word happy, which we will also place on a ticket and place it inside the casket, because we're no longer going to say the word happy. And that could be all the way down to kinder and even pre-K. And you and your teachers are going to come up with 3 to 5 words from that list. Which 3 to 5? And I would again do it, teachers, because most prompts in elementary are positive. Prompts in secondary can be positive or negative. So I would recommend that you secondary teachers use some of the other synonyms like mad and sad and bored, and because we want to make sure that we never use those first words, but always incorporate that higher vocabulary. So let's say, for example, that we're a 4th grade student. We might use perhaps, I'll just pick 5 here, elated, ecstatic, blissful, captivated, and jubilant. Or we can customize the list, boys and girls, where some of you, because we all have different abilities, like your teacher's like a doctor and you're like her patient, she might tell some of you, I want you guys to use this set of words because they're more appropriate for you, and I want these kids to use these words because they're better for them. But basically it's either climbing the ladder or coming down the ladder. And so teachers, I have 2 pages of those, so throughout the year you can add 3 to 5 vocabulary words that are connected to your heart with feelings and emotions, or your head with thoughts and opinions. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we show how we feel, where we don't just write one of those synonyms that are here. We'll actually write what we do when we're happy, the things that we might say when we have. So when they say show, don't tell, boys and girls, all that means is take off the word that's there and write down a phrase or a sentence that shows what you do. Like when I'm happy, I might throw myself on the floor and start spinning in circles. And so take a moment, boys and girls, and tell your teacher by raising your hand things that you might do when you're happy, because we could have an emotion wall where we can build our list of synonyms. Then we can have a little collage of pictures of people and animals that look like they're happy by the things that they're doing. And then we can actually have a list, and this is inside the binder and the back of the binder in the reading ELAR section, one for each emotion. We could write phrases or sentences of what people do, say, or even think when they're happy. And that's exactly what they mean by show, don't tell. The other thing, boys and girls, that was next to, in case you didn't see it, let me show it to you. There was a T on the other side. And so what I like about S for spelling and S for sentences, this is for later on in the year run-ons where we never stop for punctuation, and fragments when we stop too much. Well, let's pretend like this is sentence 7 and this is sentence 8. Well, sometimes you need a transition between the 2 sentences. And so part of revising is picking great transitions. Part of Reading is understanding the transition between two ideas, and even expository needs transition. So I already chose some for you on page 251, boys and girls and teachers, because we're going to be giving reasons eventually in expository. Let me zoom in a little bit bigger for you. Focus. The ones that I chose are in the first place, in like manner, in addition, in the same fashion, in the same way, or moreover. Now, some of those are phrases, and that's okay, because all we're doing is practicing how to use those as we start an idea, or as we continue an idea, or possibly move to another idea. And all those were similar to each other. If you want to keep it simple, teachers, you can pick some of the one-word transitions that you feel are appropriate for your kids. So what we have, boys and girls, is the teacher is helping you to do what they call kill. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 birds with 1 stone. And when we learn the spelling pattern for this week, I want you guys to help your teacher find some that match the pattern. I just have to find the list. There it is. So what I'd recommend also, teachers, is that we also raise their vocabulary. So what I did before I show you our regular list, I thought to myself, which subject areas could I use singular versus singular possessive, plural, and plural possessive? And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I circled all of the up apostrophes yellow because we slowed down. Now, I want you to pay close attention. Equalities, equalities, and equalities all sound the same, but they look differently. So I'm going to make sure that we know how to distinguish, because of something that we're going to do and say, and even the way that we do it and say it. In PE, we might say activity, activities, activities, activities. Reading, a summary, summary apostrophe S, summaries plural, summaries plural possessive. In science, we could talk about anatomy, singular, anatomy apostrophe S, singular possessive. Anatomies plural, or anatomies apostrophe, plural possessive. Autopsy, higher grade levels, singular. Autopsy apostrophe S, singular possessive. Autopsies plural, and autopsies apostrophe plural possessive. In the library, we might find out about biography, a biography of someone, singular. Biography apostrophe S, singular possessive. Biographies plural, and biographies apostrophe plural possessive. So let's take a look. We're going to close the lesson by actually looking at some patterns. And I'm going to use social studies on this one. We're going to start small and talk about singular. When you have the word property, I'm going to raise one finger for singular. And it has a consonant. So I can do that, make it look like you see. Consonant with a Y. And so singular possessive. And I'm going to grab this little ball that I have right here next to me. And this ball is $1 at the Dollar Tree. And I don't know if you can see it there, but it lights up when it bounces. So I can distinguish between singular and singular possessive. I'm going to say property, singular, apostrophe S, singular, possessive. Switch hands. Singular, possessive. Because I'm tossing the ball up, that means I'm seeing an up apostrophe. Think of it like this, boys and girls. Up apostrophes, commas come on down. Plural means this. Properties, more than one. So what we do is for property, singular to plural. I'm gonna hold my hands up like a Y. And so and I want you guys to do it to everybody. Put your hands in the air and spread apart your hands like we're doing that song YMCA, except we're not gonna do that part. I don't care about that part. Just hold your hands up. And when I say drop the Y, I want you all to collapse in slow motion to your chairs at your homes or at your kitchen table or wherever you're watching from. Ready? Drop the Y. And then we come back to life and add I, E, S, properties. And what am I doing right now, boys and girls? I'm practicing the skill as a class so that afterwards your teacher can put you in groups and continue the lesson and also work with a partner once you get the hang of it, and then try some solo on your own. And of course, like I mentioned, see if you can find some singular possessive, plural possessive, where you consonant wise, where you drop the Y and add IES. Let's look and see plural possessive. So plural possessive, look, plural possessive, where we toss an imaginary or a real ball. If I can't trust you with the punctuation is possible, then I have you use an imaginary one. And a lot of students have to earn the trust, boys and girls. So properties is plural, plural, possessive. Okay. Then if we want to change it to proper, name me a property, then I could talk about another part of cups. If you're going to name the property, it's no longer common, it's capital. When a common changes to a capital, it makes that letter a little bit taller, just like a cap does. And so I'm going to pretend to put on a cap, and I'll say capital. So proper noun for a specific property is my house. I'm going to say the Mac, capital Mac, capital Donald, capital residence. So boys and girls and teachers, go ahead and say your last name. Don't forget to put on your cap or say capital or both, and say capital residence, because that's the place where you live. We're going to do one more as a class, and then I'll let the teacher continue on with you as your group together with your teacher, and then we'll let you try it on your own or with a partner, depending on how your teacher feels. Let's go one more together. Singular possessive, or if we switch, singular possessive, already, oh, I have to do singular first. I was wondering what I did wrong there. A little bit bigger than a property is an entire community, possibly a street or a neighborhood. So double consonant on the M, keep that in mind on soft vowel sounds. Singular is community. Why do I have one finger up? Because we're talking about singular and we're trying to make it visual and kinesthetic. Property, community, it's consonant Y. If I say singular possessive, then I'm going to say community. It's still consonant Y. Community, singular, apostrophe S, singular possessive. Plural is community. So everybody put your hands up again. We're going to have our Y up. When I say drop the Y, we can all collapse to the table or our chairs in slow motion. Ready? Drop the Y. Bring yourself back to life. And what we'll do is we'll be adding I, E, S. Finally, boys and girls, the last one we'll do as a class with Mr. MacDonald is plural possessive. Plural, more than one, possessive. That means that the communities own something. And so what you might try, boys and girls, to remember the difference. I have all of these apostrophes yellow so I can keep track, but sometimes it's good to draw a wall right in front of your apostrophes and say, oh, whatever this is over here belongs to the communities. And I do the same thing up here. Where's my other community? There it is. Whatever's over here belongs to a community. And so that's one way to tell the difference, boys and girls. Think of it as belongs. So I'll let you continue. We'll just do that last one, the proper, the name of one community, one group, one neighborhood is called Capital Sesame, Capital Street. It's a show that a lot of us watch when we're kids. Some of us even watch when we're adults to get ideas on how to teach kids who struggle with learning. And so what you can do, boys and girls, is name your street. I live on Ellis Street. So I'll say Capital Ellis, Capital Street. And that's called proper because it's not just a street. It's not just a community. It's the name of the community. And so look, boys and girls, where we have the capital, there's 3 lines on it, so we can say underline, capitals, proper nouns, and titles. That's just one way to remember certain capitals, boys and girls. When we turn common into proper, we need to put a capital. So there you have it. Let me close this out so we can say goodbye and let your teacher continue the lesson today or some other day. Boys and girls, hope you had a great time. Your challenges during the week, see if you can find any word when you go around school, or when you go, if you're in school already, or around your neighborhood, if you go to the store with your parents, look at items at the store or inside a restaurant. Look and see if you can find words that have a consonant Y ending and share those with your teacher so we can make the student list. And all of a sudden we're going to get really good at singular to plural, or we can also add singular possessives or plural possessives if we want to, where we drop the Y and add I, E, and an S. You guys have a great day. God bless you. Stay safe. Behave for your parents, boys and girls, and pay attention in class. Hopefully you can win a spelling shirt. There's a big, cool shirt that your teachers are going to buy for you, right, teachers? It has an S on it, which is the student who does the spelling the best. They participate in every lesson. When they take the test, they write very neatly. So if all of you get the spelling test perfectly, even though we're adding vocabulary and voice and transitions, well, if all of you spell the words correctly, then what we'll do is we'll have another contest. Who wrote the neatest? We can concentrate on penmanship, which I already did a lesson about. So write as neatly as you can. Take a picture of letters if you need to, individual letters, if you're not good at taking a picture of the whole word. Let me explain that real quick before I say goodbye. If I say quite, it has 1 syllable. That's different from quiet, which has 2 syllables. And if I only see the word, boys and girls, with my little eyes, but I don't say the word with my mouth, I'm not going to hear that even though those words look similar, they are actually different, and they even sound different because of the 2 syllables for quiet and 1 syllable for quite. And that's why it's important to do those steps that I have on the ring finger for spelling, to see the word, to say it, to hear it and listen, to think about the pattern, to think about, is this voice, is this my heart, or is this my head, my feelings, thoughts, opinions, emotions? Is this a transition that allows me to connect from one idea to the next? Is it consonant Y? Lots of things that we talked about today, boys and girls. So I hope that you get better, because we can't just make it about worksheets. We've got to use what one of my friends calls sheets that work, by bringing them to life by using our body. You guys take care and have a great rest of the week, or we'll see you tomorrow.